arguably could be the worst team in the entire NFL this season, that being the Arizona Cardinals.
Ooh.
Their FanDuel over-under is currently 4.5 wins.
Wow. That's really low.
Under.
Under.
I'm taking the under as well.
Under.
They definitely are going to be in competition for #1 overall pick. I'm going to go under.
Yeah, I mean,
No Kyler. I mean,
they lost Nuke. They lost Hop. So it's rough. Buda Baker probably is going to get traded, if I'm being entirely honest.
Hopefully Denver. Huh?
Just really tough.
They're going
to do
full
anything
rebuild mode
when
right
you
now.
don't have a quarterback. When your cornerstone is not playing.
I'm going to assume that Kyler's not going to play the entire season.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much of a reason to.
That's a fair
I was
assumption because
looking
they
at their
stink.
schedule. I was looking at their schedule, and it's not exactly easy either. I actually had them losing like the first 7 or 8 games of the season. So yeah, I don't.
Oh, wow, I know.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just clearly obvious this team's in a rebuild. I loved their draft, getting Paris Johnson and then getting BJ Ojolari in the 2nd round. I thought that was great, but I mean, they lost Zach Allen in free agency. They lost Byron Murphy in free agency. DeAndre Hopkins is gone. We expect Buda Baker to probably be gone at some point. So this team's just clearly in a rebuild. Kyler, again, we said he's not going to play all season. We're all assuming. So this team's just going to suck. They're going to be tough to watch on Sundays, to be honest.
Yeah, Colt McCoy is their starting quarterback right now.
Can't wait for them to have 4 Thursday night games. That's how the NFL schedule works.
Nah, not
That was
this
a
season.
slight to my Broncos, and I didn't appreciate that.
That was a slight to every Thursday game being horrible.
Bro, I just hate
That's why they
Thursday night
changed it,
football
though. They
games,
made it
bro.
so that teams can play more than one this season. That's how it was last season, that they can only
I
play
just
one
think
each.
in general,
But,
bro, I
I mean,
think it's a
that-
bad concept. It's not good for the players regardless. I don't like it. I really do hate
I like
it.
To be
watching it.
honest, though,
NFL
it's a Thursday night. You had a long day. Football's on. You're not upset.
I love
I'm
it. It's
upset
great.
with some of the. I'll turn them off, bro. If it's really bad football, I'm like, bro, I can't sit here and watch this shit.
That
Like, I can't
reminds
love
me,
it.
it was years ago. I think it was like when the Rams were not good and the Niners were not good.
Yes.
We're expecting this game to be terrible. And ended up each of them putting up like 30 points. Sammy Watkins had almost 200 yards.
Yep.
Sometimes you get a
Terrible.
surpriser, but
That's
yeah,
true.
majority they're mid.
Yeah, that's the battle of mid.
Yeah, this is a very bad team. Their roster's just
Not much to be said about them.
Yeah,
There really
there's
isn't.
really,
There really
not
isn't.
much to say.
If Kyler's not there, the Cardinals are not a team that I want to talk about.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
they're abysmal without him.
So let's not talk about the Cardinals. Let's move on to the next team that I think a lot of people, in my personal opinion, are kind of sleeping on this season a little bit, and that's the Los Angeles Rams. Their over-under is set at 6.5, and I'm not saying that they're a Super Bowl contender, but I'm taking the over on 6.5.
6.5 is a little low. I was also going to go over.
I'm also taking. Am I taking the over?
I could see them getting 7 wins.
I have them at 9.
Defense,
That's true. I could definitely
so
see them
bad.
getting wins.
I agree. 100% agree.
I could take. I'm going to take the over.
I took the under here. Like Drew just said, the defense sucks. The offensive line pretty much is bad. You hope to have a healthy Matt Stafford this year, but I think losing Jalen Ramsey is going to be so huge for this team. Like, the defense is really fucking god awful. That's really all.
No, I agree.
They have to thank God that they won the Super Bowl
Mm-hmm.
because
It was worth it.
They
literally,
sold their soul for it.
It was worth it.
Of course, they.
no, oh shit! Listen, I'm not saying that it was a bad idea for them to go and trade XYZ to go and make that
Completely
super
agree.
team. They got the job done. That's it. Nothing to say negative about it. But now they're facing the consequences of trading all your draft picks because this team, top to bottom, overall, is not great. Let me not say top to bottom. Overall, it is not great. Obviously, you have Stafford. You have Cooper Kupp. There's things to be excited about. There's players to be excited about. Aaron Donald, obviously.
Yep.
I don't care, who's the breakout player, defensive player last year. I get Micah. I get how great Nick Bosa is. I get how great a Myles Garrett is. Aaron Donald's the best defensive player in the game. But these individual players are not going to change the entire landscape of a season. It's a team sport for a reason. I'm going to hit the under on this one, although I do respect the talent that is those individual players.
So the only reason that I took the over for this team is you have Matthew Stafford, you have Cooper Kupp, you have Aaron Donald, and then let's not forget you have arguably the best football coach in the entire league, and that's Sean McVay. Last season, Last season, they dealt with a ton of injuries, a ton, and this defense is going to be bad, yes, because it's very young. But the Rams somehow just always develop players incredibly well too. Like, I'm not putting it out of the realm of possibility that this team wins 8 or 9 games. And I'm not saying that's a great team, but just because they have Sean McVay and a very respectable, arguably top 10 quarterback in the NFL, I think that's enough to win you more than 6.5.
Especially when you have Cooper Cup going.
Matt, honest question: is Sean McVay the best coach in his division?
McVay's a top 5 coach lock. Easy.
Okay,
that's a
all
lot.
right.
Didn't answer his question.
I won't make it any more of an argument than it needs to be there. That's fine.
But yes, Shanahan, I would take Shanahan over McVay. Yes,
question: are you thinking about Pete Carroll?
I am.
Homie know how to run.
What Pete Carroll
I
just
thought-
did last year with that team, like
Exactly.
that moved me a
All
lot.
right, I'll say it's
McVay's
tough
up
for me,
there,
bro.
especially like when you're not just even looking at overall coaching, but like the coaches who run the schemes and stuff like that in terms of calling the plays and shit like that. Like McVay's up there with those guys
Fact.
because some of the plays he draws are incredible. Like,
Yeah.
but as an
All right,
overall
just for
coach,
conversation purposes, Mike Tomlin or Sean McVay?
I'm taking McVay. It's increasingly an offensive league, man. You see the coaches that are winning most of these games. It's all offense. It's all young offensive coaches. I'm not saying that there's not a place for a defensive coach, but if you are a defensive coach, you better make sure you have an elite offensive coordinator. So Sean McVay kind of takes away that side of the football for you almost entirely, which is the most important side of the football now. And he's a wizard. I mean, let's look at this. Jared, he's
like Bradley Beal.
He is the start of this entire movement to where everyone wants a young offensive coordinator. At a point, there were memes about the fact that everyone. What happened?
Shanahan?
No, I'm talking McVay, but Shanahan is. I'm
Yeah.
talking McVay, and now you look at a lot of the league, and it was okay. Now we see what they're doing here. Let's follow that. And then a lot of these teams ended up hiring these Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan members of the coaching tree right off of them, just taking it right off there because it works. It works. These guys know what they're doing.
Sean McVay is kind of like the Brad Stevens of the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly.
I like that.
Except he won a title.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's the only reason I take the over for this team. I just think McVay and Stafford, and not to mention obviously Cooper Kupp, and then you have Aaron Donald on the other side. I think that's enough. I think that's enough to win you some
Cam Akers.
win you 7 or so games.
Cam Akers, I like that.
But yeah, that's why. But McVay is a top 5 coach. Pete Carroll, I'd argue, is probably a top 5 coach too. This is the best, the most well coached division probably.
Are you kicking my boy Sean Payton out of top 5?
He was gone for a year. Let him come back and prove it again.
I respect that. I can see
exactly. Yeah, I agree. But he's a genius. He has an incredible football mind. He's gonna change life for you guys, honestly.
A lot of good coaches in the league.
Yes,
excuse me. McVay's definitely one of them, though. I'm being a bastard for argumentative purposes.
I understand. No, it's completely fair. But that's the only. I just gave my entire monologue.
I like it.
I think Sean McVay is that guy, but
I like it.
All right, next up, Seattle Seahawks over under 8.5.
I'm hammering the over on the Seahawks.
Over.
I agree.
Over.
Sure.
Definitely the over.
Completely agree as well. They actually don't have a ridiculous schedule either. Their schedule is very doable. I mean, obviously their division itself is decently difficult.
You have them splitting with San Fran.
Yes, of course I have them splitting. I think they're good enough to take a game off San Fran.
They have the 12th most difficult schedule.
Really?
According to what?
According to opponents' win percentage from last season.
I just look at their schedule and I just kind of predict game to game what I think. I also just look at short weeks and stuff like that. I don't know. I do a lot when I look at this stuff, but I had them at 10 wins. I had them at 10-7. I think Seattle can even be an 11-win team. So I think it's my biggest question with this team. Can Geno replicate what he did last season or even be better? That's my biggest question.
Be better is a stretch because
his weapons only got better. So
I don't know, but Geno Smith historically, he was historical last season. How well he was passing the ball. He passed with like what 67% completion over the course of
Yeah,
an entire NFL season.
There's not a weakness on this offense, might I just add. That includes their offensive line. They have a top 10 unit in the entire NFL. There's not a weakness on this offense. But can Geno again be as good as he was last season?
I don't think he could be that good. I think Geno can be good enough to, as you said, get over 8.5 wins. I see this easy. 8.5 is an easy line for them.
Okay.
I think personally, I think Geno Smith is not going to be what he was last season, but he, to a extent, he will. I'm not saying he's not going to be as efficient as he was last year. Last year was, I think, an anomaly.
I think that defense is really, really good. I think they're lacking a little bit in terms of edge rushers. That's the biggest concern. But drafting a guy like Devon Witherspoon, who could arguably be the best corner in this draft class, like he's going to be incredible, especially next to Tariq Woolen, who showed out as a rookie. Mm-hmm. You have Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams as your safeties. Like they have one of the better secondaries in the league. And then you bring back a guy like Bobby Wagner, who, yeah, he's old and regressed a little bit, but Bobby Wagner, he has all the intangible stuff. He's a great leader and a guy you want in the middle of your defense. And then an rated signing they made this year was Devin Bush coming over from Pittsburgh. Yeah. He's gotten off to a slow start in his NFL career. He hasn't been probably what people thought he would be when he was drafted. But I think the change of scenery and learning from a guy like Bobby Wagner, who's one of the best of all time, could really help him break out this year.
Agreed. I think there's a lot of young pieces on this defense that could turn out to be some. I mean, Jordan Brooks is a solid linebacker as well. Not to mention, you mentioned an underrated signing this offseason. I hate to say it because we lost him, but Julian Love. Mm-hmm. Julian Love as the third safety. And I mean, look, if Jamal Adams, we can never guarantee health with him anymore, but
he's back though.
Hurt, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Even if he gets hurt, having Julian Love as your third safety, he's one of the most accomplished third safeties now. I mean, we have to be talking about that. I loved him as a Giant. He was an incredible leader. I'm pretty sure he was a defensive captain as well. It sucks that we lost him, but they gained a great piece there too. I mean, this Seattle Seahawks had a phenomenal offseason. There aren't many weaknesses on this team. And I will say that you just talked about their pass rush. I think there's one guy there that's going to break out big time, and I think it's Darrell Taylor. I think Darrell Taylor is going to have a massive breakout season. His first 2 seasons in the league, he had 6 sacks, and he had 9.5, or 6.5 and 9.5, something like that. But Darrell Taylor has consistently been good since stepping into the league, and he's leveled up from year 1 to year 2. Why not expect another jump from year 2 to year 3? So
I like that a lot. And of course, them stealing Draymond Jones from my Broncos, that's another great addition for them. You look at this team overall, they're in conversation for having a top 10 unit in general. They just have talent all over this team. You mentioned it. Offensively, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, drafting JSN. The Broncos put them in such a position that makes me so upset, to be honest with you. They just have so many guys. Ken Walker, drafting Charbonnet.
Charbonnet, elite backup running back. Elite backup running back.
Think about how talented of a team you have to be that in the second round you're just using a pick on a running back just because you have that luxury. The defense is stacked. The secondary is amazing. The linebackers are amazing. Bringing back Bobby Wagner. Hopefully Jordan Brooks is 100% fully healthy. Him getting injured last year did suck, but of course that combination has been deadly in the past. And Bobby Wagner was an all-pro last year. He's still like that. The pass rush should be better. It will be better, I believe. But definitely, Chris, I agree with you. If there's one thing that if we're really nitpicking, it is going to be this defensive line. But overall, this team is amazing. I think that 8.5 is disrespectful to them.
I just applaud their front office too, because they were in the first year of a rebuild last year, but they exceeded everyone's expectations for them. And they realized, like, all right, we really have something here. We can make some moves, and this is a really good roster, and we can maybe compete earlier than we expected.
Especially in a wide open NFC.
Yeah,
wide open NFC.
I think it's really good management doing that.
It just also sucks that they're in the division with the Niners. That's the thing that really holds you back.
I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility the Seahawks can win this division, though. I'm just throwing that out there. Onto this next team. Speaking of, I mean, the San Francisco 49ers. They're over under 10.5. What are we taking? It's a high over under.
It is. I'm taking the over.
I'm taking the over.
High,
also.
Agreed.
It's high, but I'm going to take the over.
I took the under. I think they get 10. I think they could win the division with 10.
Yeah.
They could.
I
don't know.
I think they're both going to win 10 games.
I have
the
Seahawks with 10 wins.
I think they're both going to win 10 games.
I have the 49ers winning 12.
The quarterback, because I was the only one who had under, I'll just go first. The quarterback play. I know it hasn't been a problem in the past. It's hard not to be concerned. Like, I'm predicting a team's win-loss record, and I have no fucking idea who's going to be their starting quarterback for week 1.
They have such high expectations.
Yeah, it's just hard for me to predict. You guys are probably right. Like, they probably are going to go over. It's so hard to take that over when I don't know who the quarterback is.
Respect Brock Purdy. That's
he's great.
Quarterback.
He was great last year.
Is the fact that he had the torn UCL.
Right.
That's the scary part. It's not the fact that I
ready for the start
Brock.
of the season?
I'm pretty sure he will be ready.
He's already. Yeah, he's almost. If he's not already, he's almost at the point where he's starting to throw.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just scary, man.
If you guys had to choose Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, Sam Darnold, pick one.
Well, you have to start
obviously it's Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Without question,
he earned that spot.
My issue is, if you have to choose, are you choosing Trey Lance or Sam Darnold?
I'm choosing.
At that point, you have to choose Trey Lance.
If I'm
draft pick.
Yeah, if I'm the 49ers, I think there's more upside in Trey Lance than there is in Sam Darnold.
When are they trading him?
Yep. Agreed. When is that happening?
Oh.
Because I think he's just the sunken cost for the 49ers.
If he doesn't clearly win the job by going into the season by week 1, which I don't think he will, honestly. I think it'll be either Darnold or Purdy.
Agreed.
Then it's time to start fielding offers for him, because there's a team out there who will take a chance on him.
100%.
AKA the Titans.
Yes, absolutely. I don't think that you need too much from the quarterback in this system. I think you just got to get the ball in these receivers' hands, man. Like, we're talking about George Kittle, we're talking about Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. These are some of the best guys in the league in terms of yards after catch at their positions. I mean, Christian McCaffrey, another one. I mean, come on.
I mean, they've been doing it for the past few years. Like, yeah, Jimmy was really good. He's been really good, but he's been nothing. He was nothing special.
He was nothing special.
Yeah.
No. Brock Purdy was just as good, if not maybe even slightly better than Jimmy G.
He was better.
Exactly. Like, that's why I'm saying it sucks that Brock Purdy got injured. That's the worst thing ever. And I hope to God that he comes back healthy, because I want to see what this team is capable of with him at full health for an entire playoff run. That's what I want to see personally. But outside of that, Dean was with me on this, surprisingly. I don't know why. We have a weird feeling that if Sam Darnold gets an opportunity here, Sam Darnold's going to prove a bunch of people wrong. Surprisingly enough. I don't know why I have that feeling, but I just have that really weird feeling that it's just Sam Darnold's time. I don't know. Honestly,
none of the quarterbacks are obviously better than each other. I don't think it's just Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy
earned it. He obviously earned it. Yes, but it's up for grabs. I think
they're all in the same tier of quarterback. I think that's what he's trying to say.
You know what's crazy? We're just talking about the offense right now. That's not even what wins this football team games.
Yeah,
that's not even what wins this football team games like that. This defense is one of the most talented units I think I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
If I'm being entirely honest. Not only did you have the best pass rush, or second best next to Philly, you might now have it because you took one of those guys away from Philly in Javon Hargrave. And Javon Hargrave has been incredibly dominant, especially last season. And it's not like he's going from a great defensive line to a bad defensive line. He's going from great to just as great.
He's going from 1 to 2.
Yeah, like we're talking about a rotation, not to mention that they got Javon Hargrave. They also added guys like Kerry Hyder, Cleveland Farrell, and these are low-key additions, sure, and they're not guys that you're going to know. But there's one thing that San Fran does that the Eagles are also great at. They continuously rotate guys, and they put guys in the best possible position to succeed on that defensive line. And that matters. That matters big time for guys like this especially. So I'm just saying that defensive line makes life a hell of a lot easier on their corners. So this team is ridiculous. This team is insane.
And it also helps, obviously, that their secondary is very solid in and of itself. Talo Hufanga was the breakout player last year. Charvarius Ward, who I was very high on as a Bronco fan, him being in Kansas City, understanding that he put the clamps on Stephon Diggs in the AFC, not the championship game, the game before that, the AFC
divisional round.
Yeah,
I think
the second round, whatever it is, the second round. Charvarius Ward put the clamps on Stephon Diggs, and Charvarius Ward carried that over into this year and became one of the best corners in the game, probably a top 10 corner in my opinion.
Yep.
And so then you mentioned it, this defensive line is going to be the best because they took Javon Hargrave and they added it to the second best of last year. So now we're automatically making that one the best by far because Nick Bosa is a demon. Of course, one of the best defensive players in the game. Like, that's what I'm saying. Eric Armstead's a dog. Dre Greenlaw is a dog. This offense is going to be phenomenal. Of course, I'd be remiss if we didn't mention Trent Williams being the best left tackle in the game. Of course, we talked about the head coaches for a little while. I think Shanahan is probably the best coach in the NFC, just off the top of my head, because all the other great head coaches are on the other side. You have Bill, you have Andy, Sean Payton now is in the AFC, Mike Tomlin's in the AFC. Shanahan is just one of one in terms of creating an offense and creating a system that allows their quarterback to be able to have the success that they do. So I'm just looking at San Fran. They're stacked with talent. So I'm just going to go over 10.5.
I agree. This team is loaded, top to bottom. The only issue that I have with them is they lost a right tackle, a certain right tackle that I think you're very familiar with now.
Shout out to my dog. That's my dog now.
Exactly. We're gonna get into that, but yeah, I think San Fran's just too talented, top to bottom, man. There's no way that this team fails. There's just no way. Famous last words, honestly.